Destruction Derby. It's the kind of game you remember having lots of fun on. I mean, it's a game that involves driving into things, explosions, and violent racing. The only thing missing is giant guns and flamethrowers. Even so, what's not to love? But the problem is you just know it's caught in that awkward pre-polished 3D era. Games from that time have either appreciated well, they have decent enough graphics and the story still holds well. That's basically your FF9, the popular kid. On the other end of the spectrum, you get games that have aged badly. They suffer from clunky controls that would never be acceptable by today's standards, and they have indistinguishable figures they like to call characters. That would be your FIFA 2003, the slightly odd kid who sits in the corner playing with fire and summoning ants to do his bidding. No one really wants to play with him. At this point, I'd like to note that I don't really follow the FIFA series. If you want to play football, for some reason, do either one of these. Go outside or find a real sport to play. With that out of the way, I'd like to note that Destruction Derby fits into neither of the categories I just made up, and that it is indeed a bastard love child of the two. Before I explain this analogy, let's break the game down. Not quite like that. The game greets you with a language selection screen. I like to play it in German to mix things up a little bit, like a pretentious cock. And it's also hilarious when the in-game text screams at you in German. For the purpose of this review, I will be covering Battle Mode, as this is what I played with my friends in the past. It also covers all the game types, so why not shoot two birds with the same gun, or something like that. So the first mode is Assault. This is basically a racer where your seemingly random scored points for style and damage. One thing I've noticed from replaying this is that the points come out of nowhere. You can adjust your rear view mirror and be scored 1,000, and then the next moment have an epic crash and be scored nothing. This game is lacking sense. As you can see, the graphics are acceptable for its age, but the bugs outweigh this. The wheels turn sort of from circular to square in no time, and the racer is mediocre at best. The controls suffer from a little bit of insensitivity, but it could be worse. The physics are okay too, considering this is a PlayStation 1 game. Next we have Destruction Derby. You get the idea, blow each other up with Inhuman Rage. This is still fun to play, especially with a second player. Once again, the points seem kind of random, but it's just fun to smack each other up a little bit and pretend we're cooler than we actually are. Take that, you AI bastard. The third game type is called Skyscraper. This is another fun one. Just knock each other off the top of the skyscraper. It's still points-based, so you better make sure you please the random points god in order to achieve first place. One complaint about this is that it's the buggiest. Check this out, if I skim over the edge of the skyscraper, I'm out, but I'm actually still in the game. The programmers must have been either drunk or lazy. Fourth is Pass da Bomb. What the hell kind of a title is that? Suddenly we want to be hip and with the kids, do we? Bloody game designers. So this is a strange one. A player is randomly assigned to hold da bomb. Yeah. And has to pass it around before it actually blows up. The longer you hold the bomb, the more points you gain. But seriously, why is there a piece of dynamite magnetically attached to your roof? Why is it floating? Why can your car withstand more than one explosion? It makes you wonder why the army are actually scared of landmines. I mean, if you can drive over them and be perfectly fine after about 2 or 3, why bother even looking for them? It makes absolutely no sense, but at the end of the day this is a game, and this game type is still bearable. In essence, this has a mixture of bad and good. It's still fun to play, but with the eyes of the modern gamer firmly in place, all the flaws float to the surface like a large mound of cess floating in an otherwise perfect sea. I score this game 6 magnetic floating bombs out of 10.